So left-sided heart failure means that the left side of your heart isn't pumping enough blood as it should, right? Since the left side of your heart pumps blood to your body, whereas your right side pumps blood to your lungs, the symptoms are going to be a little different for heart failure on the left side versus the right side. And we can even further divide those symptoms of left-sided heart failure into two categories. And the first one is forward failure, and the second one is backward failure. So if we're talking about forward failure, we're saying that the heart is failing to pump enough blood out from the heart, or forward. So the first and kind of foremost symptom, one of the big pieces of heart failure, is tiredness and fatigue. So let's really quick review how blood moves around. Usually it comes into the left side, and then your left side pumps it out to the body, and that blood has oxygen because your body needs oxygen, right? So your heart's pumping the blood out to your body to give it oxygen. And then your body uses it up and gives it back to the right side of the heart, where it pumps it to the lungs, and then that blood goes back into the left side, and that whole process repeats. So since your left side isn't pumping enough blood, enough oxygenated blood, or blood with oxygen, to your body's going to feel fatigued and tired because it's not getting enough oxygen, right? And because your whole body, every cell in your body needs oxygen to kind of survive. So if it's not getting enough oxygen, you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel fatigued. And this again is one of the hallmark symptoms of decompensated or kind of late stage heart failure. But you can also have symptoms that are caused by this backward failure. And when we say backward failure, we mean that the heart isn't able to receive enough blood into the heart. And you start to get this like backup of blood. And this will most of the time kind of manifest as symptoms of congestion or fluid buildup. And it's also why we sometimes call it congestive heart failure. So let's think about this. Fluid comes from your lungs to your heart. But if your heart's not pumping effectively, it's not pumping enough blood out, that blood's going to start to get backed up, right? Think of it like a traffic jam. So all of a sudden there's this one lane for all the cars to get through. And so there ends up being this huge line of cars that gets backed up. It's sort of like the same thing with fluid being backed up. And where does that blood get backed up to? Well, since it's coming from the lungs, it makes sense that it gets backed up to the lungs. And this is sometimes called pulmonary edema, since that blood's being backed up into the pulmonary portion of your circulatory system, which is also your lungs, and the edema just refers to fluid buildup. So the first backward failure symptom, or congestive symptom, is this difficulty breathing. So since this fluid's being backed up into your lungs, it can fill into these alveoli, which are the parts of your lungs that help exchange oxygen. And since those are filling up with fluid instead of air, it's going to make it a lot more difficult to breathe. And along those same lines, you might start to cough up this pink or foamy mucus. Since that fluid's filling into the lungs when it's definitely not supposed to be, your body tries to clear those lungs' airways by coughing up the fluid. And sometimes that fluid may be tinged pink because that blood is backing up into the lungs. And these two symptoms might even get worse at night or while you're laying down, since now the fluid's working less against gravity than it was when you were standing up. And those coughing fits or difficulty breathing might get worse while you're trying to sleep.